Shakur Stevenson successfully defends his WBC lightweight title against the game and surviving Artem Harutyunyan. Tough cookie, understood how to not get knocked out, understood how to survive the 12 rounds. For me, it was lackluster from Artem. The first 3 rounds, I gave Artem the first round, and even though he was pushing the action for the first 3 rounds, I only gave him one of them because even though Shakur was being judicious and very economic with his output, he was still landing the necessary shots to win the rounds, other than the first round. I gave it a shutout victory. For me, it was like 11 rounds to 1. The judges scored it 116 to 112 from one judge, 118 to 110 from another judge, and 119 to 109 from another judge. So one judge gave Artem 1 round, another judge gave Artem 2 rounds, and another judge gave Artem 4 rounds. I don't know how you... Well, to be fair, of the first 3 rounds, if you decided to give those first 3 rounds to Artem, I would understand, even though I would also say you don't know what you're looking at when you're judging these rounds. Because you got to give credit to effective punch selection and accuracy. If I'm hitting you more than you're hitting me, even though you may be trying to pressure me, walk me down, I'm still landing more than you while I'm retreating, and I'm blocking everything that you're throwing. You're hitting me with probably about 5% of the shots that you're throwing. I'm hitting you with about 30-40% of the shots I'm throwing. You still got to score those rounds to the guy who's landing the most, because it's not like Shakur was running around the ring trying to get away. He was doing his 1 step backwards, 2 step backwards, pivot, shuffle, bob and weave with counter shots coming back at you. And it was very effective. The first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, I could hear the crowd getting restless and starting to boo. The fact is, 8 months ago when he had his last fight against Edwin De Los Santos, the crowd was booing for probably 40, 50, maybe 60, 70% of the fight. They were just booing him. At the end of the day, he said he had an injury, he had an excuse for that. He had come back, he'd recovered, and so I wanted to see how he's going to do. I thought he was going to put the pressure on him and stop this Artem Harutyunyan guy. And to be fair to you, after the 4th and 5th round, he did start to, at the very least, push the action, start going forward more and pushing Artem back. Now then, Artem got on his skates, mate. He got on his skates and started skating around that ring, literally running. At the end of one of them rounds, maybe the 5th, maybe the 6th round, I can't remember which exactly, but Shakur looked at his corners and said, I'ma stop him, I'ma stop him, I'ma stop him, yeah? But Artem must have got the memo, because he's like, yeah, I'm not having that, I'm gonna run away. And he proceeded to run away. After the fight, Shakur was talking about, I'm gonna go in the gym and work on how to cut the ring off. And I understand that, because this guy was a master of getting away from the shots. He wasn't doing anything. He was getting lamped up. He was trying to cover up. He put the earmuffs on, put both gloves up to his ears, trying to protect everything. Shakur was still finding the target, whether it be head, body. He was putting good shot selections together, but he couldn't get Artem out of there because Artem was not standing and trading. After a few rounds, he realized that the levels were just too much for him, and so he decided, I ain't bothering. I'm going to live to fight another day. My pro career, even though we started at the same time, my pro career is a lot younger than his. I got other fights to go for. Let me just survive this fight and, live to fight another day. Well done to Shakur. I don't know if you impressed the crowd. I'm not 100% sure. You impressed me. I like how you performed. Considering the fact that you're coming off a shoulder injury, I don't know if you had surgery, as I said before, I don't know if you had surgery, but you did claim to have a shoulder injury, and coming back from that, this is a good display, even though you didn't get the Donny out of there. As I said, the Donny was purely about survival. Now, that happened in New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey, this fight happened, and if you go across from East Coast to West Coast, there was another fight going on. It was a Golden Boy card on the DAZN platform with a guy called William Cepeda, and he was fighting a guy called Giovanni Cabrera. Why am I talking about this fight? The reason I'm talking about this fight is because William Cepeda is the #1 contender of all the belts at that lightweight division. He's the number one contender for the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and in this instance, he's also the number one contender for the WBC. In March, he fought this guy called Maxi Hughes, beat him to a pulp because Zepeda is a pressure fighter. Mexican Donny, pressure fighter, constant pressure. Technique ain't the best, but he makes up with it with the pressure that he applies. Okay. He was taking on this guy called Giovanni Cabrera, he's ranked number 10 in 2 of the governing bodies. I don't see him in the rankings in any other of the governing bodies. The reason that this fight happened is because after Zepeda banged up Maxi Hughes, he called out both Tank, who's the WBA champion, and he called out Shakur Stevenson, who's the WBC champion. Now, he's legitimately calling both of them out because he's mandatory for both of those guys. Well, it's not mandatory. The mandatory hasn't been called, but he's definitely the number one contender for both of these guys. And at the time, Shakur, who seems to be about this smoke life, he's like, yeah, I want it. Let's have it. Let's go. Now, the fact of the matter is champions don't need to respond to challengers calling them out. And they don't need to call out people either. But Shakur seems to really, really want the smoke. And he doesn't care who you are. If you call him out, let's go. Cepeda's calling him out. His promoter, who is Oscar De La Hoya, he tweeted saying, Shakur, if you saw this, let's go. Shakur must have retweeted it and said, yeah, I'm ready to go, kind of type stuff. Yeah? I'm ready to go. At the same time, Core fights under the top rank banner. Zepeda fights under the Golden Boy banner. When Zepeda beat Maxi Hughes, Shakur was getting ready to basically make the negotiations. This was in March of this year. And he was making the negotiations for his next fight. He wanted to be William Zepeda, but it was his last fight on his top rank contract. And I believe, I don't know for sure because I don't know Bob Arum personally, but I believe Bob was on a thing like, you know what, I'm not trying to force the issue with other promoters to try and get you this fight for your last fight on the contract, because I go and make all the necessary actions to make this fight happen, pay the necessary monies, which is going to be a lot. You go and fight this guy and then you don't go and sign back with me afterwards. That's not going to happen. So have this fight. I'll find you a little contender, which was Artem. Good, Donny. Find your little contender. Fight Donny. Because what was supposed to happen was, last year, Shakur was supposed to fight Frank Martin. But Frank Martin was going on like he didn't like the money or some rubbish like that. So instead, he fought Harutyunyan. I think that might have been after the Harutyunyan fight. But what happened is he fought Harutyunyan, and I think Bob was like, fight this Harutyunyan guy that Frank just fought. I believe he beat Frank. A lot of people believe he beat Frank. Go and make Artem look stupid. Plus, he weren't really ready to make the fight. If anything, if he's going to go and try and get another promoter to make a fight with Shakur, he's going to do a unification, like with Tank. That's what he would have more likely do. So Zepeda would have been a hard fight to make. So he never made that fight, which would have been this fight today or last night. It would have been Zepeda versus Shakur last night, but they obviously didn't make that fight. Just promotional differences and the fact that Shakur is in the last fight of his contract. Have this last fight, do well, go and scour the market, see what you can get, and then we might put some effort in for you to fight guys like William Zepeda and such like. At the same time, where Shakur is now a free agent, and I've definitely heard Eddie talking about how he would love to sign Shakur, where Eddie and Matchroom are on the zone, and Golden Boy is also on the zone, it would probably be easier to make if he was with Eddie. But it's only one fight in the lightweight division that's over there, which is that fight. All the rest of the lightweights, they're over with the top rank situation. Let's think about all the lightweights that there are. The lightweight champions, because obviously Shakur is only going to really want to fight champions right now. And other than Gervonta Davis with the WBA, the IBF, that's with Lomachenko. Lomachenko is with Top Rank. So it's better you stay with Top Rank to fight Lomachenko. And Dennis Baranchik, he is with Alex Krasiuk, K2 Promotions, U6 promoter. So they work well with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. So I think that's going to be easier for Eddie Hearn to make that fight. But we'll see how it goes. But those are the champions. The champions are Shakur Stevenson, who's now a free agent after this fight. Gervonta Davis, who's with the PBC or what's left of the PBC. Lomachenko is with Top Rank. He's the IBF champion. Dennis Baranchik, he is with K2 Promotions. it would only be William Zepeda that he would really get to fight if he's gone over there to the Zone platform with Matchroom. And it wouldn't even be easy to make that fight because I don't think that Zepeda can beat Shakur. And I don't think that his promoter would believe that he could beat Shakur either. So it would be in his best interest to either sign to Golden Boy to make that one fight or do it as a free agent with Golden Boy to make that fight. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Shakur Stevenson going forward, what fights he can have, what fights he can make at this lightweight division. I see him staying here for another couple fights. I think he most probably would want to be undisputed at lightweight before he moves up at all. But well done on your comeback victory against Artem Harutyunyan, I should say. Well done. Very clean, very wide margins when it comes to the scorecards. Very much a separation. You separated yourself from this guy to show who is the more superior boxer. Well done. Going forward, we're going to love to see what happens. I will see you guys in the next video.